All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Franchise Unpacked.
You almost forgot the name. I saw it in your eyes.
Yeah. I'm going to take that back. We're going to do that again. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Franchise Unpacked. This is Dave.
And this is Zach.
And we are here today. We're going to be talking about one of my favorites. Before we get started, I know, it's so exciting. Yeah, we're here in a new year. It's 2019.
Was the last one in 2018?
It was.
Or wait,
we recorded it.
We recorded, yeah, we released it in 2019.
Well, guys,
so
welcome
it's a new year for us.
New year for us. Welcome to the future, I guess.
New year, new me.
New year. So you heard us from the past.
Oh, now that's trippy. I mean, well, technically, isn't it one of those things where, like, when you look at yourself in a mirror, you're always like, you're never seeing yourself in the present.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So like we'll never hear this podcast. Even right now, we're not hearing ourselves talking when it's happening.
Whoa, dude.
Whoa. I mean, I
gotta go.
I gotta go too. This is my apartment and I gotta go.
Yeah, that was the episode. We just unpacked our minds.
See you later, guys.
Mind Unpacked. That's our next podcast.
Mind Unpacked.
Mind Unpacked, where we bring in psychics and mediums.
I thought you were going to say like psychologists.
Or psychologists.
But I like psychics better.
Psychics versus psychologists. On ABC.
I would watch that.
I would too.
Psychics versus psychologists.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It would be like, I would like to see like American Ninja style.
Yeah.
Tasks like mine.
Where the psychics the psychologists make a really nice living and then the psychics continue to operate their store in a bad part of town. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Really bad. Like with the tarot card.
There was a comedian that had said something about that. He's like, I'll start trusting psychics when they stop operating out of a shack in the bad part of town.
Yeah. How do you trust? It's like clearly you don't see the right decisions for you.
Right. And I mean, if anyone out there is a fan of psychics or you believe in psychics, we're not ragging on you.
No.
I
believe in everything pretty much.
Send me something about it. franchiseunpacked@gmail.com.
There it is, guys.
Our next franchise will be psychics. I don't know.
While we're on that topic, franchiseunpacked@gmail.com. Send us suggestions for any future episodes you guys might want to hear, or any questions, corrections. We love those corrections. Comment, you nerds.
Yeah, again, you freaking nerds.
Get us.
Because we can say that we're nerds too. It's our word too.
That's what we are. We're troll nerds. So
and that's the thing too. Like, I mean, we talked about this in the first episode, but for real though, we are just lovers of these franchises. Or I mean, obviously, we're going to end up doing some that we're not necessarily huge fans of, but
we could become lovers.
It's very true.
I hope to become lovers of all these franchises.
We are huge fans. We are just fans. We're not the biggest experts in the world. We do our research, but even today's topic, for example, Dave knows so much more about than I do, and he's going to be, we got way too pumped about this one. You should see the getup that he's in.
We'll post pictures.
We have not announced what today's franchise is. So Dave, if you don't mind doing the honors.
If you didn't read the title of the episode, we are doing Star Wars. There it is.
Yep.
John Williams would be super proud.
We're going to get content flagged. That was too perfect.
Yeah, that was too much. That was too many seconds of 20th century. No, not anymore. I guess Disney will be calling us. Yes, Disney's lawyers. Again.
Every episode, Disney's lawyers
get
are
us in
come
trouble with
us.
Disney's lawyers. They're everywhere.
They bring the frozen head to us. He's like, guys, knock it off.
5 black SUVs pull up outside. And all suits get out.
We hear like little anti-Semitic comments coming from inside the frozen box.
It's true.
We're like, Walt's here.
Oh no, they brought Walt. Every time. Oh man, I think that might become a thing. We're gonna try and somehow get ourselves into trouble with
legal trouble with Disney.
The Disney estate. Every episode. So
I'm down.
So count it. All right.
Yeah, exactly. There's episode 2.
But like I said, we are talking about Star Wars, and I think there's no better place to begin than with the beginning. That's usually where you want to begin.
Wait, chronological beginning or order of release?
Order of release.
Okay.
I think that's important, which is a debate I would love to talk about, because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, my friend's never seen them." Well, we'll get to that in a minute. If you don't quite know what I'm talking about, if you're unfamiliar with Star Wars, if you've been living under a rock for the last 41 years, 42 years,
if you're a 43-year-old man or woman who's never heard of Star Wars,
a man baby, who's never heard of Star Wars, we're gonna try and fill you in.
You're gonna learn today.
You are.
How'd you hear about our podcast? If you're on the internet.
I don't know. I feel like those audience, the Venn diagram of those audiences do not coalesce. But it began back in 1970. Actually, I was reading earlier today, 1971, when George Lucas wanted to write a Flash Gordon movie. He wanted to write a script, but he couldn't get the rights to it.
Okay.
He hadn't done American Graffiti yet, which was in 1973, and that was kind of his first.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen it either. But Harrison Ford, his first film, he was in it. Yeah, Ron Howard's in it. It's a very, Cars in the 50s. It's that kind of a greaser, good music, that sort of.
Yeah.
I like to think of it as maybe a Dazed and Confused, but I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, no, we'll get back to that one.
Teenagers with cars, in high school, that sort of, no plot, nothing heavy. But he didn't get the rights to it, so he's like, you know what? Well, I'm just gonna write my original, so I don't have to pay anybody for the rights of it. He optioned a 2-page script option to Fox, 20th Century Fox, and they said, okay, here's $150,000 for the script. Get us a script. And they in the mid 70s, and he got him a script, and then 2 years later they started production on Star Wars, and it was not called Episode 4: A New Hope yet.
Okay,
it was just.
What was it?
Star Wars.
Just Star Wars.
Star Wars. The Star Wars. It was Star Wars.
Okay.
And
interesting.
Yeah, because George Lucas had the story. He had several episodes, and he knew he wanted to do a saga. Yeah. He had it in his head. He had scripts, but he was like, "Well, this is my last shot. I only get one shot at this." And
talk about stress.
And the stress of getting a script as a young man optioned in Hollywood, and getting it produced in Hollywood, and then having the vision to, we'll get into it, but he created Industrial Light and Magic is one of the most impressive. Same with THX, the sound. He also created THX,
right?
Which was named after one of his first movies, THX like 108 or something. It was a student film about. We're gonna have to check that.
Yeah.
Wrong, but
we could get off on that tangent for a while.
But THX, it's that.
Yeah, at the beginning of all. Yeah,
that's gonna sound great, guys. It's like ASMR.
Yeah,
Zach and I are gonna start
really close to the microphone and
a George Lucas inspired ASMR. Ooh, wait, no, George Lucas, that would be like, I was talking to Steven and then Frank Oz came in. He's like, I got this little,
but so in case you wanted that, you have it.
If you're still listening, so he started filming in the mid 70s. We had kind of just a. Go along, there were a bunch of nobodies he hired. Speaking of Harrison Ford, he brought him back as Han Solo. We had Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, the late great R.I.P. Carrie Fisher. Princess Leia might be one of the most influential female characters, I think, in recent film history. She's an extremely strong and important, character.
I was thinking like that and
General Leia. We should
from Alien. What's
Ridley?
Ridley, yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, absolutely, absolute powerhouse, just powerhouse female characters.
Such a badass. She's
not
so cool.
your damsel in distress,
right?
Maybe, they had her in a prison. Yeah, Princess Leia's in a prison, but
not damsel in distress.
And you want a fun fact: her prison number was FN 2187, which is in episode 7, Finn. Played by John Boyega. Okay. His stormtrooper code name is FN 2187.
Really?
And that's your first fun fact.
There we go. First fun fact of the day.
Dave's fun fact. And it came out in May 1977. Star Wars, and it was a huge hit. And then George Lucas had something up his sleeve. He said, "You know what? 20th Century Fox, take all those ticket sales. Take that. You take that hot ticket. You take that movie money." They're lined up out the door. Yeah, I did good for you guys. I brought you. Yeah. He brought them out of the brink of bankruptcy as well. 20th Century Fox, the Fox as we know it, is because of Star Wars.
Really?
No joke.
I did not know that.
Absolutely. They were on the brink of bankruptcy in the 70s, and then the Star Wars almost tripled, I think, their value.
Wow.
Or something in one summer. But they were. George Lucas said, "You can take all the ticket sales. I want merchandising." No one had ever done it before.
Okay.
No one had merchandise. They're like, "Okay, George, go make your toys in your lunch boxes, all these, whatever." And now, he has gone on to sell his franchise for $10 billion.
Is that how much it sold for?
I believe 8.
Oh my gosh.
Check numbers.
Oh, still though, I'd be okay with a cool $8 billion.
A cool $8 bill, $8 billion. And he donated most of it to education.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, the guy, his name is still you still see a Star Wars movie today, even if it's produced by Disney. Lucasfilms his name is, The guy's got shares.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Oh, man.
But yeah, so he took the merchandising, started making all the toys, and now we have all the marketing we see today. They went on to then produce episode 5. That's when the episode started coming in. Empire Strikes Back became episode 5. And everybody's like, what? So that was episode 4. And he's like, right, A New Hope.
Right.
Like, whoa. What about 1, 2, 3? We'll get there.
Yeah.
So Empire Strikes Back.
Which I have some stuff to say about the first 3.
Oh, yeah.
At least the first 2.
They were formative years for us as, children and teenagers.
Yeah. We'll get to that. But that's it's strange that they that he just dropped that though out of nowhere on the audience.
Yeah, just out of complete nowhere. And he's like, you know what? This is part of a bit greater saga. And they're like, oh, this is... And that's Empire Strikes Back really hits a note. Even from the very beginning, they're on the ice planet Hoth. You're like, okay, we're already on a planet we haven't seen. How big is this galaxy? How many creatures are in this galaxy? We're seeing aliens. We're seeing new ships. We're seeing more rebels. The Empire. Okay, so the Death Star, they blew up what we thought was it in the first movie. Like the Death Star, the epitome of bad guy base. They're done, right? Mm-hmm. Oh no, the Empire that was one little base. Like basically the Death Star, one little weapon.
Right.
They've got Star Destroyers and a ground force. We see a ground battle, which is so much fun. You get your space battle in the first movie, you get a ground battle, and then in Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, you get both. You get ground and air and space battle.
Right.
You get kind of a great mix. But and Empire Strikes Back, even a bigger hit than the first. Going on to produce episode 6, Return of the Jedi, in May 1983. And then there was the big hiatus. George was like, you know what? I'm going to start focusing on the Lucas Arts, which we'll now talk. This is when, speaking of merchandising, the video games, the franchise aspect of this really
I definitely want to touch on the video game side of it. I mean, I'm a huge video game dork, and that's a huge area that I live.
As am I.
Yeah, I mean, we both are. Just kind of grew up on it, but it was interesting for me, and I know we're about to get to it, but this hiatus was broken with episode 1, right? There wasn't anything in between.
There were no movies, no TV.
Obviously, for very, very good reasons, episode 1 kind of gets a lot of hate. It catches a lot of flack, and I think in some areas,
good reasons.
Yeah, in a lot of areas, it definitely deserves it. But I didn't see the original trilogy. When I was 10 years old, because it came out in 99, I think.
Yes, came out in 99.
So I would have been 9 years old, and I remember I saw the trailers for it, and then I went and saw it in the theater.
Amazing trailers.
And it blew my mind. It was so cool. And at the time, I wasn't annoyed by Jar Jar Binks because I was 9 years old. It didn't bug me.
You didn't have a concept of
it. Right. And I was just like, this is so cool. I remember I even bought the novelization of it to read for my
I had it too.
Second grade class or whatever. And it was too hard for me to read. I was like, it was written for a way, way above my reading level.
Sure, yeah.
And so I had to have my mom help me read it.
It's a midi-chlorian.
Right. But as much as, and I never saw episode 3 either. I still have never gotten around to it.
That's the best of the prequels.
Really?
By far.
But that's
not saying much. I mean, it's just,
right. And so that was something that I had to say was it was so formative to me, even though it wasn't the best of the movies by a long, long, long shot. But episode 1 was what made me fall in love with Star Wars. It's what brought me into that universe.
So when you did see the original trilogy, what did you think of those after you'd come from that?
When I first watched them, I didn't love them. I liked them, but I was when I went back and watched the original trilogy, I remember I bought it on VHS because I became obsessed with episode 1. So I was like, I need to buy all these old movies, and I had the VHS triple collection. Oh yeah. And I liked them. I really did like them, but I didn't fall in love with them. And now when I'm going back and I haven't watched any of the episodes 1, 2, or 3 in I don't even know how long. I mean, it's been years and years and years. But I still go back and I watch the original trilogy. There's a certain magic to it. You know what I mean? Sure.
And it's funny. I think that, you might not have appreciated the original trilogy as much because you were coming from that different angle. You were coming from the prequel trilogy. So you had seen, as a 9-year-old, you saw some cool stuff. I mean, it was all CGI, which was that's the first big strike against the prequel trilogy. The use of CGI. I know what George Lucas was trying to do. And yes, it created a lot of opportunities for future movies.
Yep.
And the birth of the big green screen warehouse, where nothing is real. Which, take that for what it is, if you like it or not, like Avatar.
Yeah, I mean, he bless him, he tried.
Sure.
He did everything he could.
He wanted to do it, and sure, but it just didn't look great. And and then also he wrote the scripts and wouldn't let anybody touch him. He directed all 3 of them, wouldn't let anybody touch that. That was another big flaw. He let Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi were directed by other people.
That's right.
Very
I forgot
famous
about that.
Oscar-winning directors, and he only, he directed the first A New Hope because out of necessity. He didn't have money to buy a director. But anyway, and he, it kind of was this. And back to we touched on it at the very beginning of the episode. Whenever anybody asks me what order I should see it in, if you haven't seen Star Wars, I always say watch 4, 5, 6 first.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Story. If you're looking at it story wise, you're learning. You see Darth Vader as a Anakin Skywalker, but after he's turned to the dark side, you want to see that first. You have to see that first. So the fall from grace that Anakin has, even though it was very poorly written, and it should have been way a better story arc for young Anakin to fall to the dark side. You at least understand where he the possibility of there was goodness in him once. Right. As opposed to seeing kind of just a piece of shit kid. Right. And because it's episode 1, Jake Lloyd, it ruined his acting career.
Oh yeah. I mean, he gets upset about it.
Oh yeah. You should look up Jake Lloyd on Google. Do a little Google search. It's kind of tragic. Well, speaking of Jar Jar Binks too, he's just been coming out a lot talking about this almost committing suicide. There's nothing worse than Star Wars fans. Wow, they're rabid, and it's bizarre because it's like they're clearly dark sided, and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, the amount of hate,
and I think that part of it too is because it is such a huge fan base. Mm-hmm. Those bad fans get heard more. You know what I mean? Because there are a lot of Star Wars fans like you and I who, obviously we're not attacking actors or anybody like that. I think it's those few though. It's such a small percentage, but in a pool that big, that small percentage is still, 100,000 fans that are
very loud and have a mouthpiece thanks to the internet, especially. Yeah. But yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
Well, yeah, Obama for the internet
for making the internet.
Obama. But the amount of hate, it just always just kind of blew me away. And it makes it fun though for the new trilogy. J.J. Abrams, with the character of Kylo Ren, he is a fanboy. He's a very dangerous young man who saw something that was a tragedy and thinks it's cool again years later. Right. A goal it's kind of in our day and age, people sympathizing with Nazis. Is that what is going on?
Which is messed up.
How is this a thing again? It's kind of an allegory, At least that's the correlation I draw. So fanboys out there who are complaining and making, actors feel real shitty. Yeah. You're a bunch of Kylo Rens. Take that as it will. He is a badass, great Adam Driver, phenomenal.
Oh yeah, he's incredible.
Crushes it. Mask on and mask off. You got to see Last Jedi. He really does well in it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I'm behind a couple of movies. I haven't seen Rogue One. Oof. I haven't seen Last Jedi. I haven't seen Solo. There are a few that I need to catch up on for sure.
And now we'll kind of jump ahead. You heard him. Rogue One and Solo are Star Wars stories. Now, recently with the new acquisition from Disney, Disney bought Lucasfilms and for I believe $4 or $8 billion.
Yeah, it was a lot.
$8 billion. And so they started producing movies starting in 2015 with The Force Awakens, Episode 7. And then every year they wanted to do a movie in between every 2 years. So there would be 2015, you had Episode 7, 2016, you had Rogue One, 2017, you have The Last Jedi, 2000. And then they condensed, they put Solo out early in May, and it kind of really affected sales. Solo,
I've heard not good things.
I love it. Okay. I really like it's a Star Wars movie. I love them all. But I think it's closer to a Star Wars movie pacing wise than I think Rogue One and The Last Jedi. Okay. But those are better films. Because Rogue One's great because you don't deal with the Skywalkers. You're not dealing with the main story. You're dealing with it's like I always wanted to be an X-Wing fighter. I don't want to be a Skywalker. I wanted to be a guy and a pilot. I want to be that dude, My favorite character is Wedge Antilles. He survives both Death Star assaults. He's one of the very few pilots. I think might be one of the only pilots to survive both Death Star assaults. Yeah, he becomes one of the commanders in Rogue Squadron, which, if you're familiar, Rogue Squadron is a extended universe / video game created by LucasArts, and my favorite. I love.
Well, that's like
games.
I mean, when it comes to video games, especially, the one that I really fell in love with, and I never beat it because it was so hard. But Jedi Power Battles.
Oh yeah,
on the PS1.
So much fun.
That was a hard game.
They had a lot of good games. Episode 1 came out for PS1. Jedi.
That was a good
Battles.
one too. Yep.
Then the Jedi Knight games were great. I don't know if you played any of those.
No, I didn't
Jedi
play those.
Academy. They were kind of like right after that.
Okay. And then there was
Shadows of the Empire for Nintendo.
I never played Battlefront for PC, like the original one.
Oh man,
I did play the remake, whatever the new Battlefront was.
Oh, they're great. Except although everybody shit the bed for 2 because of the pay to play. They made a stand, and I'm glad that EA corrected it, but everybody freaked out and really ruined the game's
and that's
launch.
I mean,
really
apart from just Star Wars, I feel like everybody's trying to turn to this pay to play and especially pay to win.
Yeah, it is garbage,
and that's got to go away.
It does have to go away.
I genuinely do miss when you could, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. We talked about this in the last episode. You turn on that game, and you have the whole game.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you're missing unless you count Master Quest. But even that, when it came out for that like little disc for GameCube, and when they released it for 3DS, you had that. It was like it's all there from the start. That's a sidetrack.
Sure. We digress.
Yeah. But anyway, I did enjoy Jedi Power Battles though. Me and my cousin used to play
Pod Racer for N64?
Oh my gosh, I did.
Super crazy hard, but like so much fun.
I forgot about that game. That was a fun game.
Oh, well, so much fun. Knights of the Old Republic was the RPG, which
I never played that either.
Phenomenal game. And they need to do it, make another, because right now, to touch on Battlefront, Peter Geisel and I used to play Battlefront all the time for the Xbox One version or Xbox 360 version. Back in New York all the time. He'd come home from work late, and we would just fire that up and just play split screen. We loved it. But the future of the video game aspect of the franchise, I believe that EA no longer holds the primary rights to the game production.
Okay.
And they scrapped a game, and they're now producing what everybody wants, I believe, an MMO Star Wars
that'd
game.
be awesome. I would play that.
What are we doing?
But are they going to botch it though? Because look at what was it? Fallout 76 just came out, and I have heard nothing but it got botched.
Here's the thing, though. Fallout was never meant to be a multiplayer game.
True.
I've been saying that since they hastily announced 76.
It was like,
I was like, this isn't going to be good. They announced it.
It seemed like something that like one of the developers brewed up in their home, like using the.
Look at me and my
engine.
friends modded at a LAN, like we LAN partied this,
right?
And then I was like, how you're getting rid of VATS. Like we know it. How do you stop time? You can't stop time.
And that's half the fun.
Right there and there.
Fallout.
If you're playing a multiplayer shooter, I want Call of Duty pacing, not Fallout RPG pacing.
Right.
It's slow and clunky.
So how do you think they'd be able to remedy that for Star Wars?
You create your own engine, your own play style. You make your own. Knights of the Old Republic. They did Knights of the Old Republic and then Knights of the Old Republic 2. Then a few years passed, they did an MMO, and I think it's like one of those free-to-play MMOs where you can pay and unlock the full game, but you can just kind of I think DC had one and Marvel Online. DC Online.
And then there was what was it?
Whatever.
I mean, this was a long time ago, but like City of Heroes, City of Villains,
it's free
things like
and
that.
Fun.
Yeah.
But it was I believe just called The Old Republic.
Okay.
Not Knights of the Old Republic. And it was an MMO, and it was great.
Yeah.
You could play with other people, and I was like, yes, this is great. This is what I want. I want, kind of like GTA Online style. It can be fast-paced. Get in my ship, fly anywhere, go anywhere. Have a space battle above Hoth. With whoever's on this planet can join me.
And there is something really nice about that type of online feel. And I know this is a little bit of a sidetrack again, but I remember when I was playing Unreal Tournament 2004, and it was the first time I've ever gone online in a video game. And I hopped into someone's tank, and we were just driving around this world. Yeah, and it was a stranger online, and we kind of formed this bond. Like we hung out together, and we didn't it was just for that match, but like for that match, we were in there. We were fighting enemies together. Yeah, we were a little squad.
Speaking on that, Battlefront 1 came out in 2015, right before Force Awakens. And my brother-in-law and I were playing it back then. And I remember the coolest thing, we were online, we're in the same match together. We were the Rebels, and it was the Battle of Hoth.
Yep.
And we're in Echo Base. I'm in the hangar. And what I see, I'm like just running around, and the Empire's storming this hangar. And beautiful graphics, it's stunning. It is EA. They can make a pretty game.
Absolutely.
But
and you're saying, wait, this is for Battlefront
1. The first
the original.
Not the original from the early 2000s. This is from 2015. The remake that EA and DICE is now making for Battlefront 2. But
that did look incredible.
It's unbelievable. Battlefront 2, DICE came in and did all the space battles and the ship controls because it was so good for Battlefront. It's the best flight game I've ever played, period, hands down.
Really?
Fight me, anyone.
There's
no Star Wars Battlefront 2 has the best flight controls of it. You are literally doing barrel rolls in and out of space debris while chasing TIE Fighter. And you feel I've never felt anything closer.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Great. But anyway, and I remember that my brother-in-law, Danny, and I were playing. He's in an A-Wing. I'm in Echo Base. I'm like, Danny, there's an ATST right outside the hangar, and he's hammering us. I can't do anything. Are you still in that A-Wing? And he's like, give me a second. And I'm just watching. I'm taking cover, and I'm looking. And all of a sudden, I see a couple laser bolts hit the ATST outside.
Yeah.
It starts turning its head to look to the side, and then photon torpedoes hit it. And, proton. One is Star Trek, one is Star Wars. I'm going to get crucified. Oh boy.
Second episode, we're shut down.
I think it's proton torpedo. And then the ATST blows, and then Danny flies through the wreckage of the ATST.
That's
past it.
amazing.
And I was like, whoa, got it. And I was like, that's so cool that we have come to this, these are, the kind of games. And it's all got, the original music, which was done by John Williams. Funny little story about that. Back in the mid 70s when George Lucas he was getting his final cuts together of Star Wars: A New Hope. He showed it to his good friend Steven Spielberg. He didn't have the music in it yet. Sat through the movie, see it all, and Steven's like, "Wow, George, this is great. Cool. We've never seen space battles.
Right.
It's okay." A couple weeks go by. George puts in the soundtrack by John Williams. They see it again. They show him the scroll too. I don't think the scroll was involved yet, but with that first, and right then, Steven Spielberg was like, "We need to put this in theaters now." It changed it.
Really?
John Williams, it was a space opera to begin with. That was George Lucas' initial view of it, and he really created an opera.
Yeah.
And fun fact, John Williams is producing. He will finish episode 9. He's produced music for all of the Skywalkers, episodes 1 through 9. He is also producing original music for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is opening this summer and this fall in Anaheim. Yes, in Anaheim, California, Disneyland, and Orlando, Florida's Disney World's Hollywood Studios, respectively. And this is unlike anything we've ever seen theme park wise.
I've explained a little bit more of it because I've heard some details, but I've only heard like little snippets. I haven't heard much.
So when Disney bought Lucasfilms in 2012 for a crazy amount of money, we all knew they're like, okay, well, they're going to start making movies again. They're going to start making TV shows, which they are. The Disney streaming podcast, The Mandalorian, will be coming out in 2019 this year, starring Prince Oberyn from Game of Thrones, that actor. Pablo something. He's
I have to look him up.
Great actor, but he is the lead in The Mandalorian. For those of you who don't know, Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. Mandalore. He is a planet that has been wrecked by war for centuries, and they're mercenaries and bounty hunters.
See, this is why people are going to tune into the podcast. You're not going to get this type of nitty gritty anywhere else.
It's little things. Yeah. Mandalore. Yeah. So the Mandalorian, that will be coming out, and that apparently will be taking place between Return of the Jedi and episode 7, Force Awakens. So it's that 30-year gap that we don't know much about, which is great. So it's post Boba Fett's death. So we're going to see a guy wearing the same type of armor and being like, I think, exploring some stuff.
Right.
But anyway, 2012, Disney buys Lucasfilms. They start making movies. They start making plans. They announce Galaxy's Edge. Disney does this because Universal Studios has Harry Potter, the world of Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is an interactive, semi-interactive theme park.
Yeah, well, it's huge. Like, I haven't been there, but like I've heard that
this is 14 acres, which is the size of another Magic Kingdom. Huge.
Wow.
So this, I think, is like one corner of it is Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Right,
basically. Like
right.
Disney goes, oh yeah?
Yeah, and like one
Here's
up.
14 more acres.
How long until Disney owns Harry Potter? That's my question.
I know, right? Until they buy Universal.
Right.
But it is supposedly they will be opening with 2 rides, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, where you and 5 other guests will pilot the Millennium Falcon.
Nice.
You will climb into the cockpit, be pushing buttons, it's full interaction. It takes a crazy amount of computer processors. It's live, fully interactive ride.
Really?
It's a screen ride, but it's also moving. And how well you drive the Millennium Falcon, when you leave and exit the ride, characters will start interacting with you based on, they say, oh, the boss wasn't too happy with it.
That's right, yeah.
And bounty hunters will start hunting you through the park. You can join with the Resistance or join up with the First Order, depending on if you want to join the story of the park.
Right.
And you have credits. They will, if you're staying at the Disney Star Wars Hotel, you will get clothing. You will get a costume.
That's
and
so
you will have,
cool.
say, a droid might come to your door in the beginning of the day and be like, the Resistance needs you in the park, and give you a mission. These are
That's
This is
awesome.
rumors I've heard, but it is a fully, if you want to interact, you can. You and your children or you and your guests can
that's
fully interact with the theme.
That's something that I think is going to be groundbreaking because nobody else has done anything like that.
And like we said, Harry Potter is close. You can point your wand at
Sure.
things and make magic happen. But this is actors in costumes, fully interactive voice recognition robots.
It's like an RPG. It's like a real life role playing game.
Exactly. And then the other ride is called Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance, which is, I guess, it starts you out in a First Order prison and you break out, join the Resistance, something along those lines. The Galaxy's Edge takes place on a new planet called Batuu. In the city is called Black Spire Outpost. That is the area you are in.
Okay.
Batuu. On the far uncharted reaches of the galaxy, an area that on the outer rim, beyond the outer rim, beyond Tatooine, areas we haven't seen yet,
right?
Which is leading into what we believe Episode 9 will probably be ending the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
And then Rian Johnson now has his new trilogy that they've given him. Which I'm a little iffy on that.
Here's where my worry comes in with this franchise.
Future, here we are, guys. We are now at the future of the franchise.
Yeah, because we realize that we've
been talking for a while.
This topic in particular is definitely going to take 2 episodes.
Part 2 coming up.
Yeah, we're not sure when part 2 is coming up, but it's coming up. But the other... Dave just like made that noise while he was drinking, so I was like in the cup like...
It was my Chewy.
I
don't care what it smells like. Chewy, get in there.
But I worry about the future of this franchise because already we're starting to see this like almost like materialistic.
Well, it's Disney.
And that's the thing is like it's becoming Disney-fied.
They pumped the brakes. Solo, there was a lot of issues with it. You noticed there wasn't a new Star Wars story this December?
That's right, why. Yeah.
They were going to do Boba Fett.
See, I would love that.
And then an Obi-Wan movie.
Yeah.
But they've, as far as we know, have either stalled or canceled those films. They're going to finish out Episode 9, let the theme park open. I think let some other merchandise come out. And then we're going to get a new trilogy here, I think, in another 5 years.
But here's my question, though. Do we need a new trilogy? Because you look at something like, I'm just going to go back to it because we already talked about it on the show, Legend of Zelda. Like, there are so many gaps in that story, but that's okay. Like, I don't need a game that centers around the Goron.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, he's had his time. We know about him
I'd like to see the history of the Goron in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me other Goron characters.
Exactly.
Now,
and that's where I get hung up because I don't, personally, I will probably never see Solo. Not because I don't like Star Wars, but because I don't know that I care enough about that one story to dedicate 3 hours of my life to it.
It's really ham-fisted. It is. There were definite problems with the script of them trying to shove things into it. But I see it. It is fun to see, if anything, Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian.
And that's one of the only reasons that I want to see it.
He's in a cape. It's pretty excellent. And there's some good performances too. There's some really good and some nice, oh, hey, wow. A nice twist at the end. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but there's a character that you would never see coming back.
And I guess part of my issue too is recently all of those movies, Star Wars, the Marvel movies, they're so big that I think they've become, I don't know, they're not interesting to me anymore. I don't mean to sound like a hipster or anything like that, but I mean, it is one definite end of the gamut of
film.
Yeah, it's this big blockbuster, larger than life.
When my wife and I saw Avengers Infinity War, I was exhausted after it. I felt it's this type of movie where you're like, I felt like I just ran a marathon. I remember seeing I Am Legend. I was white knuckled the whole time and like had to hold my breath, and it was stressful. It's one of those. Yeah, you have to be definitely in the mood. I am always one of the, if Empire Strikes Back was on the other day on TV, right in the middle of it, I'm leaving it on.
Even the original trilogy though, like that to me has so much more to it than some of these new ones do. Like it just has, there's a certain heart to it.
Yes, there's an intimacy that you're getting in this huge galaxy. Now what they're trying to do, they're like, hey, look at this huge galaxy. My concern with the future of it is they're saying, oh, we're done with the Skywalkers. We're done with all this stuff. We're taking you to the far reaches of the galaxy and they're starting a whole new thing. I'm like, I don't want to start seeing some weird stuff. It's when you did the prequels, you changed the look of Star Wars. You made it a weird Flash Gordon style, a weird round edge. It didn't look like the original trilogy. Right. But now the new prequel trilogy did a good job of we still look like, which makes sense. I think you're coming out of those clothes.
I think what it boils down to is the original trilogy allowed you to experience Star Wars. These newer ones are doing the experiencing for you.
They're introducing you to like, look where we're going to shove you into next.
Right.
That's why I love the video games. Yeah. If they can make me a good video game where I can make I come into this franchise looking at it like, I want to be a character in this galaxy. Yeah. I want to fly my ship. I want to be, force sensitive. I don't want to be a Jedi. I want to be force sensitive. Han Solo's force. For those of you who don't, there are characters who are force sensitive, clearly. That's why Han Solo's always saying, I have a bad feeling about this. But, with some training, he could use some powers, I believe. But anyway, Leia, huge example of force sensitive. But I just don't want to start seeing a full change of design. I don't want you start they introduced midi-chlorians and then dropped it because it was such a dumb idea in the prequel. Like, why?
What were those again?
Midi-chlorians are little organisms that live inside all living things in the galaxy and connect us. And the more you have, the more you can speak to them and they can affect other things with midi-chlorians. So that's why Jedi have a huge count. Okay. That was the whole dumb plot of episode 1 with Anakin. Giving him blood tests. You're like, this is what give me the Senate and blood tests of a child who can't act.
The one thing, I don't remember which episode
Liam Neeson, cool. Ewan McGregor, cool.
I looked up the scene where, I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't even remember the character's name right now. I'm drawing a total blank. Palpatine, maybe? Oh, yeah. There's a guy, he says, do it, that guy.
Do it. Yeah, like, Senator then.
Senator, yeah.
Soon to become emperor.
So, and like there was, the Game Grumps did a whole bit on it where like, do it. The whole time they're playing this game, they're like, oh, kill that guy, you gotta do it. Like, do it.
That's great. That's when Anakin beheads Count Dooku, played by Christopher Lee. Yep. With 2 lightsabers. But anyway, so we're here at the future. Future of the franchise. I'm hoping that Galaxy's Edge is going to be phenomenal. My family and I, we go to Disney World a lot and down in Florida. We won't be going to Galaxy's Edge it opens this fall. We're going this April. Okay. But you don't want to go the first year. It's going to be a madhouse.
Yeah, and they got to work out the kinks.
Oh, yeah. Like Pirates of the Caribbean shut down the first day they opened Disneyland.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't remember
in Jurassic Park, the only thing is they didn't jump off the ride and start killing people. That's
yeah. Like, I forgot about that.
Everything didn't work at Disneyland the first year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. We can't wait to talk more about Star Wars. There's so much more.
Yeah,
I have pages of notes here. That
we literally. I'm staring right now at the complete Star Wars encyclopedia. This thing is like
3-part volume.
Thousands of pages of stuff that we can.
It's a good probably 25 pounds.
Yeah,
it's heavy.
It's so. There's definitely more to cover here. We don't know when we're going to do part 2 of this because we don't necessarily want to rock you with part 2 right away and then. All anybody's hearing is Star Wars for 10 episodes. But we definitely want to come back and visit some more of this. In the meantime, if you guys have anything that you see as super interesting or something that we may have missed while we were talking about.
Or misspoken. There were a lot of errors, I'm sure.
Well, and again, we're just fans. We enjoy talking about this. The reason that we wanted to start this podcast to begin with is Dave and I actually went to school together in college, and we would sit. We were actors, so we still are.
Imagine that liberal arts.
We would sit in the green room and just talk for hours and hours and hours, and like that's all we wanted this to be was just a couple of buddies hanging out and chatting. So please, don't hesitate to shoot us an email, franchiseunpacked@gmail.com. And just let us know if you have any suggestions, additions, corrections, whatever it is. Don't be shy about that at all.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in today. Make sure you guys hit us up on social media. Twitter is @FranchiseUnpack. Apparently Unpacked was too long for Twitter. Or Instagram @FranchiseUnpacked. You can also drop us an email at franchiseunpacked@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns, fan mail, anything like that. We like fan mail. And make sure that you stick around for the next episode because we're going to be talking about the one, the only Spider-Man. We'll see you next time.